Well, a few months ago, Bill and I were delighted when we were looking at PBS programming available for streaming. And we came upon this show. Our friend Verlon Thompson was hosting his own PBS series. It's called Barnegie Hall. And we watched every episode. We hope there's another season coming out. We've finished the whole first season, even did some of them twice. So would you tell us a little bit about the show and how it came to be?
I have another one of my dreams came true. I was able to build a little place out in the country as sort of my musical sanctuary, my getaway. It sits on the banks of a river, and it was an old barn. And I took a couple of old log cabins they were going to destroy, and I used all the logs on the interior of the barn. So it looks like a barn, but then when you walk in, it feels like a log cabin. And it turned out what I had built was I'd almost built a musical instrument because of the way it's shaped and the beams that support it and everything. It's almost like this box, you know. It's like you're walking into the body of an instrument, and it resonates, and it's such a great place for music. And so I had all these picking parties, and people would come out. And one night, somebody said, "Man, this is like Barnegie Hall." And so later I wrote a song called Barnegie Hall about the place. And then one night my wife, she said, we should film some of those get-togethers, have some of your friends that I'd been writing songs with for 40 years, have them just stop by and let's film it, and we'll call it Barnegie Hall and see what happens. And that's what we did, and that's what it is. It's just my friends. I happen to be one of the luckiest guys in the world to know so many Grammy-winning #1 Hall of Fame songwriters that I could just call up and they just pop in, and we do what we're doing here and pick and sing a little and wrap it up, and PBS picked it up. It's like in 75 markets on the air, and then it's available for streaming all over the country, and it's been fun.
It's amazing. Well, watching you interview, and I told you earlier that I felt a little intimidated being the interviewer because you're so good on those shows. But one of the things that we noticed is there are times when you're listening to those songs and you're very deeply moved.
Oh.
And we are too. I don't know there's an episode that hasn't brought me to tears at some point, some of the beauty of the songs. So can you think of one of those songs written by one of your guests that you could either play a little bit of that song for us or at least tell us about it so that we can look it up for ourselves and give us a recommendation?
Wow. Man. Now that's a good one. There's so many. And I was moved at it. Every episode had something that was, I would learn something about these people. I thought I knew all about them, and they would pull out something that I didn't know. And then some of the performances themselves were just, you gotta understand these people. It wasn't. I think the reason the show works really well is because they're with a fellow. They're with a classmate, a brother, a sister. We grew up. All of us grew up in that town doing all that, doing it together, and we. Most of them I've written songs with, even the ones I didn't write with, we still share that bond of we know what it takes and what it's like to have survived as a songwriter in Nashville, Tennessee. You know, I'd have a hard time picking one. The one that comes to mind that I love so much, I love it so much that I had it played at my wedding.
Really?
I had the melody. My friend Sean Camp and Guy Clark wrote this tune, and it's called Magnolia Wind. And it's just got this beautiful melody. And so I had Sean hidden in the woods with his fiddle. And we got married out at the barn house. And so when we come walking around the corner of the barn, to walk up and stand in front of the preacher, this fiddle music just come rising up out of the woods. I had fiddle and an upright bass, and it was almost like God was playing this music for us. Nobody knew where it was coming from, but it was just this beautiful melody. Da, 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 da. Words go, I'd rather sleep in a box like a bum on the street than a fine feather bed without your little old cold feet. I'd rather be deaf, dumb and stone blind, than to know that your mornings will never be mine. I'd rather not walk through the garden again if I can't catch your scent on Magnolia Wind. And it goes on and on. It just gets prettier as it goes.
Oh, that's beautiful.
It's just gorgeous.
That's nice. Well, I love your show. We're a big fan. I hope you do another season. Thank
you. I do too. We're trying to drum up a good sponsor. Even though we've got the, my wife is the production team, and we got the setting, the barn and everything, but it still costs a lot of money to produce something like that, as you guys, I'm sure, well know. And so you tell all your rich Texas friends to
start showing them Barnegie Hall, huh?
Yeah.